This is going to be a full moon in Leo. Pick a card reading. If it's meant for you, it's meant for you. I was thinking about what kind of reading I could do for this full moon in Leo, and what came to me was pick a card because the energies have been so conflicting the last few days. And maybe this is a great opportunity to look at the different energies you might be experiencing. So I invite you to take a look at the three decks below and think about which one appeals to you. Now, deck number one on the left is the Light Seers Tarot. The deck in the middle is Tarot de la Nuit, which is a little bit of a darker kind of deck. I love it. And the third deck is the Arcanum deck, which is a very classic favorite. So it's up to you. Go with what feels good. But before we begin, let's talk a little bit about the full moon in Leo. You know, I mentioned that there was some scattered energies and even a vibe of anger, passion, sad, angry, anxiety, emotions running wild. And I'm not surprised because Leo energy is very pop offish at times. There's an intensity with Leo energy. Leo represents the ego, the self, right? Because in the tarot, the sun card is Leo. That is a yes card. It is the happiest card in the deck. It is about forward motion. It's very strong masculine energy. That's why Leos tend to have very, very strong masculine energy. And so therefore, we have to look at what's going to push ourselves forward and what do we need to reveal about ourselves. Now, because Leo energy is about ego sometimes is wearing a false self mask, and I invite you to think about what do you need to reveal to live your authentic truth? What would you like to reveal? And I've mentioned this a lot lately about the way Leos communicate. One style is to just blurt something out kind of inappropriately just to get a reaction because it's been building up and building up. Or, there's this dancing around something and it needs to be talked about. So if you've been in that mode where something needs to come to the surface or something needs to be revealed, then this is that kind of energy. Now, I'm going to take a few messages from some oracle decks before we begin. So I'm going to put these cards off to the side. So let's take a look at what are some overall themes for the full moon in Leo. Now, let's start off here with this recent favorite of everyone's. So many of you have really enjoyed this deck in my readings. And so for this full moon in Leo, we have Earth Dragon, as above, so below. I really love this kind of energy because how you're feeling inside is what gets reflected on the outside, right? So how you're feeling internally will show itself in your external world. So you got to think about that, right? Sometimes we forget that what we put out is what we get back. And let's see this deck here. Bees, community. Now that's interesting because that came out in the reading that I did the other day for the chakras. We were talking about community and how important it is to be with the right people, the right soul tribe, so to speak. And let's see what else we have here. Okay, teacher. Not surprised. I've actually been seeing a lot of 333 in the past few days, and 333 is Ascended Masters, master teacher. So it feels to me like a lot of us are learning some lessons, and to be honest with you, I think some of them are hard lessons. There are things that are coming to the surface that are not comfortable, and it's almost like time we get comfortable with, being uncomfortable. So I'm going to put these cards off to the side, and now we're going to get into the pick a card reading. So we're going to start with deck number one. Now, deck number one is the Light Seers. And before we get into that tarot, let's get some overall messages for deck number one. Okay. Oh, well, there we go. We had a bunch. Oh, look at this. I was going to take 3 cards. We have them. Okay, let's see what they are. And we have your dreams need a practical plan. Absolutely. I don't see this as planning. I see this as intentions. Communication is key. Isn't that interesting? Because I just talked about the full moon and the way Leos might communicate, and knowing that you are good enough. Okay, you are good enough. It's like funny. I've always mentioned that Leo communication can be like verbal diarrhea, right? In the sense that like when something gets blurted out, it's like an instant, like, here you go, now, do with it as you wish. And those three cards came out in that style. So let's take a look. We're going to see what's going on in your headspace, your emotional space, as in your heart space. And we'll take a look spiritually what you may be encountering, okay, for this full moon. So let's see what's going on in your headspace. Page of Wands, throw caution to the wind. This is an energy that's basically telling you that you got to live your life. Go on an adventure. Let the mind go, as in like, like don't worry so much about all the details. Because see, notice how this came under the, or at the planning card here. I'm not into planning. I believe that it's setting intentions, because plans can change at a moment's notice. You can have a general idea of what you want to do, but I wouldn't say it has to be, to the T. Like, you don't have to have it everything perfect. And I think people struggle with that. A lot of people are planners, and that's great, but planning and making sure everything is perfect is very strong masculine energy that tries to control the outcome. Okay, now with that, the Eight of Cups. So you might be in your mind thinking about things that you need to walk away from. Okay, so let's see. Two of Cups. Yeah, I'm not surprised. We're getting a lot of scattered energy here. And let me just take one more, the Fool. We'll do 4 across the way here. Pardon me for reorganizing. But, here's the thing. The overall message in these cards in your headspace is freedom. Okay? Freedom. Because in order to achieve the things that you want, you're going to have to walk away from the old. And it's never easy to do that, right? Because Page of Wands is saying, throw caution to the wind, enjoy life. But in order to enjoy life and throw caution to the wind, you're going to have to walk away from things that are no longer serving you. If you want love, okay, Two of Cups, beautiful energy. You've got love on the brain. But then in order to do that, you've got to be a fool and trust and take a leap of faith, okay? And so that's where we get into tricky energy. So let's see what's going on in the heart space with this full moon. So 9 of Pentacles is feeling good in your own skin. This is essentially, self-worth, self-value, and self-respect. It's Venus energy. You have to believe in yourself. It might even be a card of being single, if that's your situation, because 9s in numerology or even in tarot, they're cards of solitude, right? Being single. And that doesn't mean you have to be, but in your heart here with the Emperor, it's telling you to make a power move. You've got to make a move to better your situation. And I always say we're here to play chess, not checkers. You're not here to go left, right, or backwards. You're here to go onwards and upwards. And with that, we have 2 Pentacles. In your heart space, you need to simplify your life. The 2 of Pentacles is all about making a tangible decision to simplify your life. This is like saying, I got this, and this going on, but then possibly not addressing what you need to actually clear out. Sometimes it's an umbrella. We're so busy with things and we use that to not change, right? So let's see. Five of Cups. Some of you may be feeling grief, sadness, even disappointment in your heart space. But the reason why you might be feeling that, and forgive me for saying this, is because you may not be simplifying your life, you may not be making the moves, and you may not be feeling good about yourself. And I want to remind you of something. Notice how in this card, let me see if I can pull it out easily here. Notice how like she's pointing. Where is she pointing? You are good enough. You are good enough. You can have it. You just have to believe in yourself. So if you are feeling grief or sadness in your heart space, it could very well be just because you're not making the necessary moves. And spiritually, let's see what's going on for you in your process. Page of Swords. Page of Swords is a bit of spying or observing. Be careful if you're chasing anybody by, watching their stories or, looking at their social media nonstop or rereading old conversations or looking at old pictures. A piece of advice that I can give you is maybe during this time, if you're feeling like things are stuck, start deleting pictures and conversations in your phone that are no longer necessary. Maybe do a little purge. Full moons are about purging, surrendering, and letting go. And I know that's hard for people to do because you don't want to let go of the memories, because if you let go of those things, then you think it was all just a dream, or that it didn't exist, or that, you're forgetting the person, or that they're going to forget you. I think that's one of the most common things I hear. Well, they're going to forget about me. It's not true. They're not going to forget about you. So, Page of Swords can also be a card of studying or learning. And maybe you're learning more about yourself, or your ascension, or you're wanting to, and that's what I always say, is that you need to spark new connections through learning. Now, the Four of Pentacles came out here, and the Four of Pentacles is holding back. It's extreme of giving time, love, or money. It's an all or nothing kind of vibe. And this is my whole point. If you have old stuff on your phone, or you're chasing somebody energetically online, you are holding yourself back. If you are engaging in any communication with somebody that has not been able to give to you in a relationship format, as in, Kelly, we're just friends. Oh, we're going to be friends. Then it's going to hold you back, because, we don't romantically engage with our friends. My friends don't see me naked. I don't lust after my friends. And that's a harsh reality, I know. And I don't say that to be triggering, but understand that, sometimes we try to label it as, oh, we're just friends, but that holds you back. So if you are in that situation, understand that it holds you back. Okay, that's why learning and growth is important, right? We talked about that in the earlier cards for the full moon in Leo. Teacher, you're learning, right? And there's the Judgment card, a wake-up call. This is all about a transformation and heeding the call. And notice how I talked about freedom earlier. Look at this like energy, like freeing from her body. It's like her spirit is, excelling, It's like a beautiful sense of lightness and being. And I think a lot of you want to feel lighter and happier. Okay? And let's see what else. Yeah, the Empress, you want to birth a whole new cycle. And I find this so interesting because we had the Nine of Pentacles over here, which is pre-Empress energy, feeling good in your own skin. And then the Empress over here is, Venus. It's being creative. It's doing what you're passionate about. And I think that's really lovely. So please let me know in the comments if this resonated with you. I do see a couple patterns here of like 22. We had 2-2. If you're seeing that angel number. But I think that this energy is basically telling you to free yourself, to throw caution to the wind, okay? So I'm going to put these cards to the side. You're welcome to join me for card number 2. Let's see. I'm really excited to see the energies, because I know the last few days they have been very intense. And the second deck we're going to be using is Tarot de la Nuit. And I'm going to put that here. But let's go to the Luna Witch Moon Oracle, which I really love. I use it quite frequently. And let's get 3 messages for card number 2. Prosperity, determination and growth, abundance and success. So beautiful way to start. Journey, smooth sailing, adventure, make your own path. Involved, true love, charmed affair, long-term potential. You know what I find really interesting when looking at these 3 cards is that sometimes you have to make your own luck, okay? Now, I do believe in being at the right place at the right time. I'm all about, certain vibes, of course. But prosperity on that card says determination and growth. Are you determined to change? Are you determined to go on this journey? Because the journey doesn't happen, instantly. It takes time. I've been reflecting on this a lot lately. I've mentioned it a few times actually in my readings, and that is I've been on this particular part of my journey for the last, 9, 10 years at this point, like where I can really pinpoint the start of what I call a reawakening. It's been a decade almost of my life, and I'm so thrilled that I'm where I'm at, but it wasn't easy. I have receipts. I would never tell you something that I don't know. I would do as I say, not as I do. You know what I mean? Like, I really am passionate about this journey for myself and for you, right? I've gone through this process and I want to help you with yours. But in order to get to this point of true love, long-term potential, you have to go on the journey. You have to set sail. You have to make your own path. And that's the difficulty, I think, for a lot of people. They don't know how to do that. And I can help you. But again, it's not something that we can do overnight. It takes consistency and retraining your brain. And it involves getting out of your head, even at times, that self-talk that we have, that says, oh, I want instant gratification. And media doesn't help with that. When we're watching shows like Love is Blind and The Bachelor, and don't get me wrong, I love watching them, but I use discernment. I know that these things are not going to happen overnight. And I think that's the issue, is that we want everything now. We don't have the patience. And it's funny we're talking about patience, because Leo energy does not have patience. Most signs don't, but I would just say Leos especially, because they're very fiery and they're driven that way. So let's take a look what's going on in the headspace here for card number 2. And we have here 5 of Cups. Now, I saw the 5 of Cups in first reading. So 5 of Cups is a bit of sadness and grief and disappointment. The 9 of Cups, this is my point, ask and you shall receive. Okay, so this is really reminiscent of what I just talked about. Ask and you shall receive. If your mind space is, nothing ever works out for me, well, this is crappy. Or, well, every time I try to do this, well, it never works out. If you're in that lack mentality or that negative self-talk, guess what you're going to get? You're going to get negative things. And, the card at the very beginning where it talked about, as above, so below, if your internal is confused and sad and angry, you're going to get that in the external world. So 9 of Cups is ask and you shall receive. And sometimes you're not asking for crappy situations. You're not. Of course you wouldn't ask for that. But your energy internally says different. And that's why I've been saying so often lately, make sure your energy matches your words. You can say whatever you want. You can tell me, you can say, Kelly, I'm ready, I'm open, I've got this. And if your energy internally is saying, yeah, but really no, it's got to be this person, that situation, it's got to go exactly the way that I want it, then you're not really, you're not really open to the possibilities. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got to basically match. You got to match your own energy. And it's funny how we talk about matching other people's energy. Well, if they do this to me, I'm going to do this to them. It's the same thing internally. Head and the heart. It's a constant battle, and I don't mean like romantically. When I say heart, I mean like the head, the brain. The brain lies to you. Your brain lies to you because of emotional pain body. Your heart, being heart-centered, is so important. Okay, let's see. The Page of Cups. The Page of Cups, she's like looking over her shoulder here going, come hither. Page of Cups is something that is like the early stages of something. It's like believing in miracles. Like you're trying to lure, because we had the mermaid card in live the other day in the other deck. You're trying to lure this energy in. And you know what I'm reminded of? And I know it from a German story. I'm sure it exists, in many ways. The story of the Lorelei, where it was I believe the mermaid on top of the rocks, and the ships would come crashing in because they were lured in by the energy. You know what I mean? And I feel like for whatever reason, it's like we're trying to lure this energy in, but in order to lure energy in, I mean, we don't want anybody crashing their boat, into the rocks. We want them to actually get to the top of to the mountain or the top of the rocks. But like you have to ask for it and believe that you can have it. And I'm going to go back to the Moonology card that I saw earlier. You know, it said you are good enough in card number 1. And maybe there's a connection here between these readings. But you are good enough. Yeah, 10 of Cups. Do you want the happiness? That's one thing to ask for it, another thing to allow it in. And look how it's falling like right under this card here. This is the true love, right? This is the ask and you shall receive. This is the luring it in, and this is the allowing it to be there. It's like a progression here. Are you in this sadness and disappointment and grief? You know, or are you going to ask for something better, lure that in, whatever's better, and actually like live it? Okay, let's take a look at your heart space here. The moon, well, full moon in Leo. And this is an interesting card because in this deck, this actually doesn't have the moon in it. The moon is being blocked by this pillar, which I find so interesting. But the moon here is about something being revealed. And it's purging, it's surrendering. And I have a feeling when I look at this card that she is luring something in. She's talking to the moon. I really believe that. Are you talking to the moon? Are you believing in yourself? 2 of Wands. Kind of reminds me of Hamlet vibes in this card. 2 of Wands. Are you ready to leave your comfort zone? Are you ready to make a decision? This could even be a card of literal travel. And, oh, well, somebody's got some passion in the pants here, in the heart space. Knight of Wands is fiery Sagittarius energy that says, I feel hot, hot, hot. And that's great. The only thing about the Knight of Wands is that it rides in very quickly and it leaves just as fast. So this is what tends to happen on these journeys, right? Where people have this motivation to do something, but then they lose that motivation. And then they revert back to the old ways. You know, I've mentioned this a few times this week that sometimes we make all this progress, you know, which is beautiful. And then for whatever reason, we're drawn backwards to go into our comfort zone again. And it requires course correction to come back into the present. And I mean, it is a journey, of course. We're always going to have moments where there's blips in the road, or we're going to hit some you know, rough waters. But you have to remember that the comfort zone's not so comfortable. And for whatever reason, we somehow feel comfort in going back to the pain and hurt, right? Which sounds so opposite to really what we want. But that's the emotional pain body. And so let's take a look here. The High Priestess, this is my point, spiritual ascension. You know, the High Priestess is signs and synchronicities. Here's the thing. It's great to be motivated, but you have to maintain that motivation on this journey, because if you don't, you will get pulled backwards, and then you'll be frustrated that you're having to redo the entire process. Do you really want to go back and redo the hard work that you've just put in? And I don't think that anybody would really want to do that. So let's see what else we need to know here. The 2 of Pentacles. Now, funny, the other reading had 2-2 as well as an angel number, but different cards. And in your spiritual side here, the 2 of Pentacles, this is my whole point. Are you in the old or are you in the new? The darkness here in the past, the light here in your present and near future. Oh, I got a kitty playing in the background here, just so you guys know. Special appearance. The 2 of Pentacles is simplifying your life. You're juggling a lot. And you have this opportunity to go into a whole new direction, to go into the light. But there's that fear. Can I have that happiness? This is the whole point. Disappointment, asking for better, trying to lure it in, and actually accepting it. Spiritually, it's the same thing. You have the opportunity to grow and expand and change. The question is, are you willing to accept it? Do you feel deserving of it? Here we go again, judgment. I think these 2 readings are connected. It's kind of funny. So you might want to look at number 1 if you didn't. The Judgment card, and I love this version of the Judgment card. I have to say, I think this is probably my favorite card in this particular deck because it's a portal. Like, look at the portal, how it matches this one. Here it is. You want true love? You want that happiness? In this picture, I don't know if you can see it, she's actually looking over her shoulder one last time. Are you in the old? Are you in the new? She's taking a last glance before she goes in, because the Judgment card is wake up call, transformation, heeding the call, going towards the light here. I mean, and I just want to make a point. Do you notice how the imagery in this deck is a lot of looking over the shoulder? One last glance. How many of you right now are trying to take one last glance before you make a move? Because she's looking over her shoulder. She's looking over her shoulder. She's looking over her shoulder. She kind of doing a little bit of a side glance. This is definitely over the shoulder. Every time I look at this card, I think of Alicia Silverstone. I don't know why. But anyway, side note. The Judgment card is, are you ready? I'm thinking of the song, you know, like Selena Gomez, when you're ready, come and get it. Are you ready? And there's the sun. See, this is the point. I'm getting so passionate about this reading. This is like working me up here. Like going through that portal, there's the sun. Here comes the sun. There's that Leo energy. You really can't make this up. Let's see. Ah, the wheel. The wheel. The red string of fate also. Destiny. The wheel is growth, expansion, good luck, and abundance. Are you ready for it? That's the question. Okay. Let me know in the comments how you felt about reading number 2 or card number 2. I feel like we're getting deep. Every reading I do these days, it's like we get into these deep, deep, deep conversations. You know, I don't intend the reading to be super long, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh. But hey, if you like these readings and you're enjoying it, I'm happy, because I'm very passionate about what I do. And this really does excite me. Okay, let's take a look at card number 3. And I'm going to be using this Moonology deck here to see what else we need to know. And we have here the law of attraction. Not surprised. The overall energy we had for this reading for all 3 was as above, so below. What you attract is basically what you put out. Well, time to release the blocks. I said in an earlier reading, maybe it's time to purge your phone. Maybe it's time to let some things go, you know? Old conversations, clean up your friends list on your social media. Look at this love card. If you want love, you got to release the blocks. Okay, let's go to the Arcanum deck and take a look at what's in your headspace. What's in your headspace for this full moon? This card has come out in all 3 readings, so it just shows you different decks, similar energies. 2 of Pentacles, in your headspace, you need to simplify things. You're overthinking, you're overdoing, and I'm going to mention it again. There's sometimes this way of umbrellaing, if that's even a word, the energy, where somebody will say, I'm doing this, 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 and this. Can't you see that I'm busy? Can't you see that I got a lot on my plate? Leave me alone. Get off my back. And people use that as an excuse or as a crutch to not really address what's under that umbrella. So I think some of you need to simplify your life. You need to make a decision about what's at the top of your priority list. And I know if I ask you what's at the top of your priority list, you're not going to say yourself. You're going to say this, 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 and this. And I don't want to should on you, because I always say don't should on anyone, but ultimately you are number 1. Always, always. How can you take care of anyone else if you're not taking care of yourself? If you have someone else on a pedestal, where's your spot? Where do you fit? Have you ever had that thought in your mind where you say, where do I fit into the situation? That's this, okay? That's that example. You are number 1. There's no question. It should be an automatic. I'm at the top of the list. I fit here. I fit. This is my friggin' puzzle, okay? Like, this is my puzzle. I fit. You have to make yourself fit my puzzle. If your piece don't fit, then see you later, okay? I'm getting feisty, I'm telling you. This is like that full moon in Leo energy where it's making me like, you know, GFY. And I don't mean good for you. Anyways, sorry, I just had to throw in that, you know, it's kind of like that MF, CS, POS. If you know, you know. Okay, let's see what else. Yeah, you're burdened. 10 of Wands, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally exhausted. 4 of Wands, 11-11. Spiritual ascension, commitment. Look, here's the bottom line, okay? Yeah, see, look, here's the bottom line. It's like a progression here in the energies, just like the last reading. In your headspace, you have a lot going on. You're burdened, okay? Mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally exhausted. You can have 11-11, brand new beginning, spiritual ascension, commitment, twin flame number. You can throw every descriptor on that. You can have it. Are you willing to allow it in and celebrate? Are you allowing yourself to celebrate? Are you allowing yourself to go through the motions of, you know, simplifying your life? Because 3 of Cups is celebration, and I love that. And I know that a lot of tarot readers, you know, debate this topic. 3 of Cups is not typically a card of, you know, a third party necessarily, but 2's company, 3's a crowd, okay? So if you want to live in interference, everybody nosing in your business, and then you've got all these like burdens here where you got to simplify your life, then do that. But in your headspace, it's methodical steps to get there. It's a journey to get there. And this is what I've been talking about actually through all of these readings. It's so funny how we can do 3 separate readings and it all feels like it's one. You know? All for one, one for all. I feel like I'm talking about the 3 Musketeers here. Maybe that's... I love the 3 Musketeers, by the way. I love Alexandre Dumas. I mean, I was a French major. I was a French teacher back in the day. I don't know why I'm thinking about the 3 Musketeers or the Man in the Iron Mask or the Count of Monte Cristo. Love, love, love those movies and those books. But anyways, celebrate. I digress. Okay, now let's see. In the heart space. Okay, Knight of Swords. You want to move forward quickly. However, I don't know what the other cards are going to be yet, but I already can guess and say that it's what I said in reading number 1 or part number 1 or card number 1, whatever you want to call it, that there's this idea that we have to rush everything. Everybody's in a rush. Look around you. Go to a store, drive on the road. Everybody's in a rush. We don't want to take the time to look up and enjoy life, to look people in the eye anymore. You know, it's amazing how we've lost that ability. And there's the Emperor. See, here's the thing. You want to move forward, but you have to recognize that the Emperor is calm, cool, collected. And the Emperor came out in the other reading as well. You know, this is essentially saying, make the move. Make the move. The Hermit is about searching your soul. You might even be feeling the desire to hermit yourself right now in your heart. Maybe you're afraid to get hurt, you know? There's work to do. There's always work to do. But I want to remind you about working hard versus working smart. You know, sometimes people are trying to force everything. I journal, I meditate, I go for Reiki, you know, whatever's on your list. And those are all wonderful things, by the way. But be careful that you're not trying to do too much. You know, when you're trying to do too much, it basically makes things harder because you get resistance, you know? And that's where sometimes when you get that resistance, then you lose motivation. Now, I always ask, do you want short-term pain, long-term gain, or short-term gain, long-term pain? And I know all of you will say you want the short-term pain. So then what stops us from having that? You know, I don't want anybody in pain. I really don't. But at the same time, there are certain things that you need to address or you need to figure out or feel before you can have that abundance. I think there's sometimes a sense of entitlement, and I say this to you respectfully, where I deserve this, I better have this, and I get it. I really do. I think where I'm also seeing this is as a high school teacher of so many years, I used to see so much entitlement. I deserve this just because. I want this just because. And we forget about the process work. We forget about okay, let's brainstorm some ideas. Let's ask questions. Let's research things. Let's collect all that information and make some sort of final product. I'm thinking school here, like projects. And yet, for whatever reason, we just want to go from the initial idea to the final product. Oh, I want a relationship. I deserve that relationship. I want that person to come correct. I want that person to come in doing this, and this. And then I ask the question, are you doing those things? Because if you want somebody to come correct, you have to come correct. Back to the original card at the beginning of this reading, as above, so below. If your energy says, I'm confused, I'm unhappy, I'm stuck, guess what you're going to attract in somebody? Unhappy, confused, stuck, same thing. So be aware of the energy. Doing the work is working smart, okay? It's taking the methodical steps. It's being self-aware. It's looking at the bigger picture. I just said this to somebody yesterday, that my gift my entire life has been, I used to call it a blessing and a curse, and I don't call it a curse anymore. I really don't, because I've now recognized why I've been so lucky, that I can always see the bigger picture. I can understand why people do what they do, even if I don't agree with it. So how can I be mad at somebody if I know what they're doing and why they're doing it? Yeah, sometimes I wish I could be all like, GFY, as in not good for you, means something else. I wish sometimes I could do that. And every now and again, sure, it may come out of me once in a blue moon. But you know what? I understand why. I look at the bigger picture. I look at all the details. And I'm not saying you have to do that too, and I'm not excusing bad behavior for people. But what I am saying is that we have to understand the workings of why things happen the way they do. That's just my opinion. Now, here we go. Spiritually, the world, completion of a cycle. You have to let a cycle end, okay? Because this is about going to the next round. Are you ready? Are you ready? The Chariot, victory, forward motion, onwards and upwards. Who drives the Chariot? The Emperor. Okay? You've got to put the swords down and stop fighting. If you're watching this particular reading, then I would invite you to think about this for a second. Are you fighting the shift? Are you fighting tooth and nail so that you don't have a tower moment? Are you really afraid that if you fall, that you'll never get back up? Because I can assure you, you will get back up. Because there's, in my mind, only one way to look at this. If I gotta make it or break it, I'm gonna make it. There is no option. That's how I live my life, legit. Okay, because when I had my tower moment, sorry, and I'm giggling not out of like, ha ha, I'm giggling because I'm like, ha, like that was a real storm. Let me tell you, if you think I don't know what it's like to hit a low, I don't think I could have been any more low, but you will get up and you will go, because you have to have that fight. But the right kind of fight, not the fight that's fighting tooth and nail to stop changes from happening. Because I know you want those changes. So the Five of Swords is saying, get rid of the headaches, get rid of the conflicts, put down the swords in regards to fighting the shift. If you want to fight, put it into better fighting, which means fight for yourself, not with other people. You're not meant to be fighting other people. If you're fighting yourself, fight the good fight to get out of the old energy of the past. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. And what else? Yeah, Nine of Wands. Look, you got to get out of the wounded warrior energy. This is what I call Nine of Wounds. This could be somebody who is constantly, in victim mentality. Why does this happen to me? Why? Why? Nothing I do is ever right. Nothing ever works out for me. You have to be so careful in the way in which you speak, especially to yourself, because you have an opportunity to let something go, onwards and upwards, to have the victory, to put down the swords, and to recognize that you're not down and out. You get up and go. You got to make it or break it. You're going to make it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I won't let you. I will not let you give up. And I think one of the topics that's come up a lot recently is, Kelly, sometimes I feel like I just want to give up, or they don't know the difference between giving up and surrendering. Let me remind you, giving up means you're saying like, that's it. I just gonna roll over and whatever. No. Surrender means you're gonna let go, let God, let the universe take the wheel. You're going to live your life, make new connections, new hobbies, change things in your life, spark new energy so that new things can be drawn to you. I keep coming back to the initial message of this reading. And again, as above, so below. Your inner world reflects your outer world. If your inner world says, I can't have this, and guess what? Your outer world is going to listen to you. The universe is going to listen to you. Okay, well, I really appreciate you listening to my readings. And yeah, I'm in spicy, fiery Leo energy today where I'm really passionate about all of this for you. Please let me know in the comments if card number 3 resonated with you. I appreciate you all so, so much. I send you so much love. We're doing a full moon Zoom tomorrow night. So Friday, January 26th at 6 p.m. Eastern. It is recorded on Zoom. So if you can't make it, that's okay. And you'll also receive a personalized moon reading that gets delivered to you within a couple weeks by the next new moon. Now, obviously, this reading is timeless, so it doesn't matter if you've watched this after the full moon. But essentially, I hope this resonates. And again, I wish you the most amazing full moon in Leo.